Troy dumped me in college.
Oh, wow. Why did he dump you? Hold on. This might be something I don't know. Troy dumped? Whoa, what happened there?
The level of pressure I had put on myself was way too much. And so again, Troy became my punching bag. So to your point of it's how I was treating him, and it wasn't fair. Yes, he's there for me, but he's not my punching bag. And for him to realize too, like, hey, she was in a tough spot, like this is gonna be her life.
How do you turn Lady Boss off?
Oh, that's a good question.
And then when you're home, you're back to mama.
But I'll be honest, on the days I feel fortunate that I see patients 3 days a week, and Troy knows I am thinner on those days. Because again, what I do is very emotionally draining. And I wouldn't change it for the world, but then to have the patience when I get home can be hard. So I'm not always spot on. So again, I think having a partner and a teammate is super important.
What you just described to me sounds like a method. You give them the worst case scenario up front though.
Yeah.
And then you can walk through all of these other things first.
Right.
That sounds very wise from a communication standpoint. What's going on, guys? This is your boy Lasada Pippen, aka LP. Welcome to Say It Better, where we are doing a seasonal podcast, and I have some phenomenal people lined up for you all that I believe you are going to truly enjoy. Today I have a good friend. I have a sister in the faith. I have a family friend here with me today. She goes by Amanda Kossick. We just call her Amanda. We never use her last name. But nonetheless, I have Amanda here with me today. She is a child of God. She is a wife of one of my good friends, Troy. She has two beautiful kids, Adelaide and Theodore, who Theodore and my son, Danny, they absolutely adore each other. They just love each other to the moon and back. So I have Amanda here with me today. She's also the owner of the Mercy Dental, which is also right here in Roswell, Georgia. And I'm excited to have Amanda here with us today. Amanda, welcome.
Thank you so
Say It
much.
Better.
I'm excited to be here. I was nervous, if I'm being honest, but I'm really glad to be here with you.
Absolutely. It's all good. It's all good. So Amanda, you grew up in faith. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I did.
Tell me about that, how growing up in faith has carried you all the way to where you are today, and how has that shaped your life decisions, your life journey? How was that growing up in faith?
It's an interesting question, and one that Troy and I actually in the last couple of years have kind of dug deeper into as far as the faith we grew up with and where we are now.
Okay.
And so we, in the last couple of years, have really dug into why we believe what we believe.
Okay, love that.
We're very thankful to the faith. We grew up Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
And we're very thankful to that church for where it's brought us in life.
Yeah.
I went to Adventist schools most of my life. It's where I met Troy. So obviously it brought us together. It brought me to my profession. So again, it is something that without it, we would not be where we are.
Okay.
That
Lovely.
being said, some of the doctrines of the church and the emphasis kind of on a little bit more, I guess, legalistic kind of approach. We're trying to question that and what that means to us and how we're implementing it in our life, and focusing more on the fact that Jesus is our Lord and Savior, and all it takes is believing in Him, and that should be the main focus, as opposed to what you're not doing and what you're, what rules you're not following and all of that, which was a big emphasis, not by our parents by any stretch, but by the church as a whole. So we are, again, show great gratitude to our church, our parents bringing us up in that environment, because it taught us some very core things that have served us well in life, as far as serving others, being Christ-focused, biblically focused, and also hard work. Adventist Church is very focused on being a hard worker. And so that's, I think, gotten us where we are today.
I love that. Yeah. I heard several things in that answer that I kind of want to touch on. The first part I heard was that it sounds like you are simplifying your beliefs. And I think that is so valuable, because I tell people this a lot, is that complexity is actually easy. Simplicity, that's hard. Is when you start to simplify things and make it easy and so forth. Now, you talked about how the way that you grew up is focused on hard work as well. Now, how would you say your faith plays a part in hard work, and does it create conflict at any point of time with people that may not work as hard as you do, especially being the owner of a dentist practice?
I don't know that I, not to put words in your mouth, but pass judgment or have any feelings really on someone else working hard, unless you are in my inner circle, being Troy.
Troy's her husband, by the way, y'all. He's my friend, but he's her husband, though. Okay, all right.
And he matches me, like at those times, but he's really the only other one I hold to my standard. I hold to myself.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm touching the mic. But that is, I don't have those expectations or hold hard feelings to anyone who isn't matching my energy.
Got it.
The only thing I really get upset is when people aren't compassionate or emotionally empathetic to somebody. Those are the things that I get very frustrated with. But I know I try to have patience with those that aren't right in my inner circle, that may be struggling, working harder because of whatever life has dealt them.
I see. Yeah.
So, and again, I count myself very blessed that God has given me the emotional strength to work through a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I know that people have different struggles and different ways of dealing with things. So
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you were talking about Troy and his, you hold Troy to this expectation or standard, right? What is the standard? So if we were talking about, let's say a 1 through 10, and you operate, I don't know, let's say you operate at a 10. Are you expecting Troy to also match you at that level 10 as well?
not necessarily at that level, but if there's a certain expectation I have about a specific thing being done, it doesn't have to be across the board, but if there's something that I'm putting energy in and I expect him to match me, I'm trying to think of an example to like show. Because he really does. I mean, for the most part, he meets that standard, and very rarely does he not match my effort and viewpoint. Like, he's very willing to meet me where I'm at as far as like parenting and coming at him with things that, again, I think a lot of men might struggle with. He's like, might take him a second, but he comes around and we have conversations about why is it that we need to slow down and hear Theo out, right? And like listen to his like emotions as opposed to just like do this because I said so kind of thing. You know what I mean? Something like
totally.
that. So not again related to like labor work, but like I think emotional work and like I guess matching my mentality on that kind of approach.
That's a good. I get that now. So I remember when Eliana and I first got married. So it'll be 15 years in August.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I know, right? yes.
It was yesterday, right?
yes. But I remember when we first got married that we actually had a standard issue, meaning that I used to have very, and I still do to a degree, but I had very high expectations. And I realized I was imposing those expectations on other people.
Totally.
Specifically her.
Yes.
And then I started doing it with the kids as well. And so that did create a level of conflict.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for a certain expectation without the appreciation built into it. And you have to have both.
And you get disappointed and there's lots of layers to that. And then anger usually comes into play 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to your point, I definitely early in our relationship, I was much worse about that. As I have grown and matured, I've learned again to your point of communicating and making it clear, this is where I'm at and this is where I would like you to meet me.
Yep.
As opposed to just expecting him to know and read my mind. So again, to your point, I'm very clear and direct at this point in my life because I feel like that's the only way for him to even know. I don't expect him to play games and read my mind and know where I expect him to be.
True. Now, I love that. So would you say that you are clear and direct with the majority of the people that you talk to? Or is this more of a family type of thing? Family
comfort level for sure.
Okay,
like I said, my inner circle, my immediate family, my parents, my cousin who I work very closely with. Borderline blunt because of what I do professionally.
Yes.
I can be direct, but I've also learned the art of softening it because that may not be effective. But I've also had plenty of direct conversations. I've had direct conversations with patients about that I think they have a problem and that they need it addressed, specifically with like drugs. And I'm not afraid to have those conversations. So I think in some ways direct is good.
Yes.
Because it can catch people off guard and be like, wow, okay, she sees this as what it is. but also sometimes I need to be softer because I don't want to scare somebody away, because like, hey, you have an issue as far as like your oral hygiene or something basic like that, you know, and it's like approaching them and meeting them where they're at, as opposed to coming at them head on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you gauge one over the other?
I read people all day. I am constantly emotionally evaluating. And again, I think that's God's gift that he has given me, that I have that ability to kind of feel where people are at. And sometimes I miss it. I'm not 100%, but it's like I'm always on trying to assess emotionally where they're at, mentally where they're at, reading body language, eyes. Are they eyes on me? Are they looking overwhelmed? Are they tearing up? Are they, you know, like there's lots of different reads people can give. And then knowing them and having a relationship with them too. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So would you say that softening the language, is that more of a language? Is that more of using certain words to soften it, or is it more tone? What would you say it is to actually soften what you're saying, or what would you say the how is there?
Right. I don't know that I've ever really thought about it intentionally saying, oh, I'm going to use, but I would say probably tone and pitch.
Tone and pitch, okay.
And how, again, and what I call the fluff words, like kind of just like, I think that's a Southern skill, right? Like
the fluff words.
Yes. We use like a lot of words to say something pretty simple.
Yeah, we do.
And so you go up to New England, you don't get that. You don't get the fluff words. You get the real blunt, which again, I actually appreciate that. When I have a patient who is from that area, I'm like, thank you. Like directness is great.
Say it straight.
Yeah. Yes. Instead of like my grandmother, who was my good friend, she saw her and she goes, oh, you know what, honey? I know someone that would be able to fix that nose right up. Well, what was she saying? She thought she needed a nose job, but it was like, my friend later goes, did she just tell me I needed plastic surgery? Like,
right.
Don't worry. She's, from the South. Just roll with it. But to that point of like really being, trying to be polite and like not, and polite maybe is a poor word because we should always try to be polite, but not upset people with our words, I think is a big thing. So I'd say tone, a lot of words to describe something pretty simple. Okay.
I understand that. Yeah. I think more women say what I'm about to say than men do, I believe. Mm-hmm. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but at least I know Eliana says it more than I would ever say it. So because you're talking about tone and you're talking about, the impact of the tone. Mm-hmm. And this is what I want to say is, it's not what you say, but it's how you say what you say.
All the time.
See, I don't know if men think about that. Yeah. I don't know if men think about it's how you say what you say. Because I remember Eliana early in our marriage, she would tell me all the time, it's not what you're saying. Because I was very direct, very blunt. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say some off the wall stuff, you know what I mean? Just to be totally honest, right?
Well, because you feel safe with her too.
Of course,
there's that security.
Too.
Like,
yes.
She's not going to judge me.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But sometimes it was a little bit over the top. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And she would make that phrase. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I think that's what we're hitting on a little bit when it comes to communication and that tone and how it lands much better is in the how. It's not the what all the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because it's the same message. But it's funny you say that because the person who actually taught me that was my dad.
Oh, really? Yes. He taught you about the how to say it?
Yep.
Okay,
it's
got it.
It's not what you're saying, man. It's how you're saying it. Because again, I think God gifted me. I consider myself pretty smart and quick on my feet.
Yep.
And so sometimes that talking down is something that I have to like not do. And so again, not that I'm wrong, but people are not going to be receptive if you say it in a way that makes them feel stupid. Yeah, so totally. In the how you say it.
Yep.
So he taught me that at an early age. So my mom has all the key phrases. She has full of, we could have a whole book of Tammyisms, but that one from my dad, I definitely remember.
I love that. Yeah.
How long did it take you to master it?
Oh, I think honestly when Troy dumped me in college.
Oh, wow. Why did he dump you? This might be something I don't know. Troy dumped? Whoa, what happened there?
I think it was a good thing. Again, I think it was needed for both of us in the sense of I was very, very stressed out applying to dental school. I was in my senior year of college. So the level of pressure I had put on myself was way too much. And so again, Troy became my punching bag. So to your point of like, it's how I was treating him, and it wasn't fair. And so we were actually engaged, and he broke up with me, and we broke up for, I think it was like 6 weeks, 2 months, not too terribly long, but it was long enough for me to really stop and assess like how I treated him, and like be like, okay, yes, he's there for me, but he's not my punching bag. And for him to realize too, like, hey, she was in a tough spot. Like, this is going to be her life, because we're going into dental school. Like, dental school is no joke. So I think that was a huge blessing, actually, that happened. And we were able to work through. So to your point, I think that was kind of a very stark event that caught my attention. And then it's just been continual. Like, there are times, like, and because Troy is my person. And so when I get the feeling from him that like, wow, okay, I'm crossing the line, it's like, okay, all right.
True.
And then I come back and apologize, and we talk through it. So
yeah, I love that. You talk about family a lot. You talk about your dad. You talk about Troy. You have this amazing infatuation with your family.
Totally.
Yep. And you've talked about how you all are creating memories, and just walk me through that. Like, where did this infatuation come from? Did you grow up in a house to where there was this immense amount of love in the house, and you've carried that over to Troy, to Theodore, to Adelaide, and so forth?
100%. I think I am, again, very blessed that I had two parents still married to this day.
Amazing. Yep.
And prior to that, actually, when both of my children were born, I had 7 grandparents still alive when both of them were born. All of them in original marriages. The only reason the 7th was because my grandmother had passed away before they were born. So all of them were original marriages. So again, I have no excuse to mess it up. Oh, I didn't have the models. Like, I have the models.
And can't be the first. No. You can't be the first one to mess it up. Can't do that.
No. So yeah, I think the fact of what was modeled, and then all of that love funneled down to like me and my siblings, and also for Troy too with his brothers. There's so much love, and actually my father-in-law said that at our wedding, and said the thing that the DeMercies and the Kossicks have in common is that they put their children first and family first, and it shows in the children, because that love, Troy and I, we're following that same model. Sometimes, so I'm actually listening to a book right now about raising emotionally strong boys, and how they need to have their network of friends, and I'm like, can family be that network?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I mean, we have like friends, of course, but I'm like, but really a bulk of my like inner circle is my family.
That's true. Yeah.
And so they are very, very important, but that definitely was a big part of me growing up as a family. We all did a lot of activities. Jordan, my brother, was very heavily into sports, and we traveled a lot for those sporting events. And so we were spent a lot of time in basketball gyms, baseball fields, just cheering him on. And so very tightly knit. And then obviously I work with my family, so I am like around them all the time. And then Troy and I, same. We spend a lot. We value that nuclear family time. Very, very much. So dinner time at the table, like very little will interfere with that. So as we're entering into the season where the kids get into more activities, it's kind of causing a little anxiety and stress for us, because it's pulling at that. We're having to be more like, okay, well, we're going to have dinner here, and then you're going to take him there, I'm going to take her there. But it's still just like making sure we have that nuclear family time. But we also love traveling, and we take amazing trips. I feel very fortunate to be able to take those trips and show the kids the world. And
I love to see your trips.
Right.
The pictures are just like, I just salivate over them. The pictures are so amazing. I'm like, wow, they go to some of the most cool places there in the world. So, but I love that.
But yeah, so that I think is driving our children together. They're very close. Actually, right now, my son is with my sister and her husband. They have sleepovers with my Auntie Rain and Uncle Matt, and Adelaide had hers last weekend. And I love having that relationship for them, because they do all the fun things. And again, other adults pouring into them in a positive way. Theo's doing some like science experiments with my brother-in-law right now.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like,
Yes.
He's loving it. But on some level, I'm like, part of our puzzle's missing. It's just like this weird, like, okay, it's going to be okay. So yeah, I'm really dreading already the empty nesting. We'll get there.
Oh my gosh,
Talk to me when
that's too far to think out. I don't even want to think about that.
it's going to be here like that.
I know.
It's going to be gone. So yeah,
totally. Yeah,
I'm soaking it up as much as I can while they're here.
I'm sure. Yeah, same thing. We try to value every moment, every minute that we have with them, because you're right. Tomorrow we'll look up and it's like, wow, they're gone. They're gone. They're doing their own thing now. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't think about that. It stresses me out to think about that right now.
Sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Me too.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Yeah. So you talked about, working with your family and so forth, tight knit. You get a lot of quality time with your family in general. Tell me about that, because not everyone can work with their family. You know what I mean?
True.
A lot of times, family are the hardest people to actually work with, especially in your line of work and what you're doing.
Yep.
That can be very, very difficult. So talk to me about the emotional side of working with your family, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it may be. But just talk to me about that dynamic and working with your family.
I wouldn't have it any other way, but it can definitely be challenging. Again, I think because of who I am, I love being genuine.
Yep.
And I tell people, I go, the Amanda you see here, the Amanda you see when we go out to dinner, is the same Amanda that sits in the operatory and talks to my patients.
Yes.
And so in a work environment, I really can't imagine having to have a filter on of not being that way with like someone I felt like I had to perform for, if I'd come into a practice that wasn't my dad, and I would have felt very insecure and like unsure of my skills, because first 6 months I cried probably every night just because I felt very insecure about like, am I going to be good at this and all of that? And so having my dad be that sounding board was very safe, and I think allowed me to move through that awkward duckling phase a little smoother, because I felt secure in my job and with him. And then my mom was his office manager, and she's always in my corner. And so that my dad, actually, I just bought my dad out this last summer.
I love that, yes.
But my mom she works for me, she does bookkeeping, and is helping me kind of transition into like the day-to-day business side of it, that she's kind of taking care of and behind the scenes, and so she's training me on a lot of that. And so she introduced herself, though. They were with these people at this wine bar, and she goes, yeah, I work for my daughter. And my dad just was sitting there going, excuse me? He's like, that's the first time she said that.
Yeah.
Like for 40 years, he has said, I work with my husband.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Is she going to stay on as the office manager?
I will take her as long as she's
I know, right? Yes.
But I can feel she's also one of those people, because she's so self-sacrificing, that I will have to tell her, Mom, I'm okay for you to go. Because I think she would stay as long as I needed her to, or what she perceived I needed her to. So it's going to be one of those that at some point I'm going to have to, for her sake, just be like, Mom, okay, yes, I'll take you until you can't read anymore, but I'm not going to do that to you.
Yes.
About that duckling phase, I think people incorporate our business.
Yeah.
That transition where you're learning yourself as a business owner, as a leader.
Yeah.
How did that, what were the curves? What were the edges in that season?
It was, I think, more of, for me, what I was struggling with is the confidence, switching from a school setting where you really had a safety net and you had professors to check everything and make sure you were okay. And then you're having to go out and make these calls without that safety net of okay, this is where it's good, treat it, done, moving on, and then feeling good about it. And at that point, I think this is universal, is that when you start out in a career, you don't have much of a track record. So every failure feels like this massive failure, where it's like, now if I have something that doesn't go to plan, I'm like, yeah, well, fix it. Like, you have the solution because you've done it enough times that you know the fix. Where then I didn't. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't get this stupid thing. It didn't go to the thing I had envisioned. So, I would say that was, for me, what was so emotionally trying. And I am also the kind of person, I want to be good at something in about 30 seconds flat. And if I'm not, there's a lot of really strong feelings. It's definitely
I relate with you on that. I'm a natural fast learner.
Yeah.
When I don't learn it fast, we have a problem, like a huge problem. if I don't get it fast. So, like you said, 30 seconds, that's probably the peak, to where 30 seconds, and if I don't have it by then, I am
100%.
Pretty frustrated.
Any tools that you recommend on that transition phase that you thought were helpful?
That is a good question. I think I don't have a specific method that I used other than grace for myself and just like,
good. Yeah.
and I think spiritually, again, I think I'm more spiritual now and walking closer with Jesus than I was then. So I think that, again, would have been way more helpful if I had turned it over, because that is something in the last couple of years, that stress with the office and any turnover I take very personally. And anything that doesn't go to plan, that I can't control.
Yeah.
That's another factor for me, is I love control of things.
Yep.
And that is something spiritually I struggle with. And I've really honed in on when I can't control it, and instead of getting stressed and emotional and like, just turn it over. And like, not that he magically fixes it how you want.
Yeah.
But that release is like, okay, fine. Do what you will. I'm out. Obviously I can't deal with it anymore. So it helps give me peace, at least with whatever the situation is, and having faith that it is going to. So I'd say the tool to me is Jesus. Just turn it over.
Yeah. I think that is so hard to just let go.
100%.
You know what I mean? I don't know why we think that we have more answers than God. I don't know why we think that, but we do.
Yeah.
And releasing or just letting go is one of the hardest things, especially when you are business minded, when you're an owner, when you're a leader.
Right.
It's really hard to let go of things.
Yeah.
And so that can be detrimental sometimes to our growth, our trajectory, and so forth. And so that can be really hard.
Right.
It's just letting go. I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Because you've mentioned your dad and how he was a saving grace for you as well. Your mom, who's always there for you as well. You're a leader. You're a very prominent leader also. If you had to choose what skills you got from each one of your parents, what would you choose? Like, what was the main thing that you would say, I grabbed this from my dad and I grabbed this from my mom to help shape you into the person that you are today, the leader that you are today? What would you point to? I know they've done so much. They've done an amazing job with you. They poured so much into you. But could you point to this one thing? I got leadership from my dad. I got communication from my dad. I got X, Y, and Z from my mom. What would you point to if you had to?
So my dad, I would say he is a very empathetic. Like, he's that reading people.
Okay,
I think
got it.
he's really.
Okay.
My mom is too, but I'd say because professionally he's had to hone that skill.
Yep.
But he is the king of devil's advocate.
Wow.
The king.
Yep.
Which is obnoxious sometimes, if I'm being honest. Because sometimes I don't want to know the other side.
Yes.
But that is, I think, a very helpful tool. And again, being a leader is walking in that person's shoes when they're not doing what you think they should do with your lenses. Like, that is something, again, in the last several years that I've really grown, is that, like, you should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this?
Yeah.
And then saying, okay, Amanda, put yourself in their shoes and say, well, they're behaving this way because of this. That was always my dad's question, is like, okay, but how do you think they view this? From my dad, I think the devil's advocate tool is beneficial. So you don't just get immensely frustrated with people. And then with my mom, she is not afraid to make a hard decision. Where, again, she is very, very strong. And she knows, like, it's okay to not be liked. Like, that's okay. Like, as a leader, you're not always going to be liked.
Wow.
And signing up for that role can be really hard, especially if you like being liked. Yeah. So, and I think as a parent, that's also translates over to parenting.
That's very true.
Like,
yes, very
not
true.
here to be your friend.
Yep.
We are here to turn you into a God-fearing member of society.
Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
So it's similar to, I joke and I said, DeMercy Dental, I would love to have had 4 children because I love being a mom. But I go DeMercy Dental's child 3 and 4 because parenting skills translate 100% to managing my employees, and there's a lot of crossover there. Right.
So you were in the practice before you had kids.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Yep. Do you think there could have been some type of leadership benefit if you had the kids first before you entered the practice? If you reverse that time, do you think there was some benefit, or do you think being in that leadership position helped you with the parenting?
I think the way that our family played out was key. Dental school, I had classmates who had children in dental school, and again, the amount of stress and pressure, I don't know that I could have focused and devoted to my children as much as I did when we had children.
Right.
And I think that goes to also, I was in a much healthier emotional state 2 to 3 years into practicing than I was, even if I had had them right when I graduated dental school. Which is what my dad did. He had me. He had me December. They opened the practice in March of 86.
Whew.
And so it was. That was a lot. That was a big pill to swallow.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I'm sure.
financially, emotionally, and he started it from scratch. So it was like, there's a little video that's like 6 little paper charts. That's where he started. Yeah. And mom and dad's walking around being like, there's my little babies, grow. And like, if we had paper charts now, it would take up this, like it's So the growth is really cool to be a part of that. So I think, to answer your question, I think the way it played out, honestly, for me, was perfect.
Best path that could have been possibly taken. Yeah. I can see how you agree with that as well. You talked a lot about your spiritual growth, and it sounds like, at least in the last few years, there's been a greater impact.
For sure.
A greater understanding in terms of your spiritual growth, and it has affected how you communicate with your staff, with your patients, and I would imagine how you communicate with your family as well. Talk to me about that.
Again, I think the greatest thing I've learned about communication and communicating and asking the Holy Spirit to help me communicate. Even coming here today, I was like, please, Lord, give me the words, because that is the only, that is a huge part of it. But then also pausing in your communication.
Oh, I love this.
Because if you, so many times, I'm a human. I have normal reactionary, I'm angry. Like Alyssa will come and tell me, my office manager, who's my cousin, she comes and she'll tell me about something that's happened with an employee. And she's irritated, obviously. And so it's easy for me to just jump in and be like, oh, and just be mad. But I've made the mistake of going right in that moment and communicating to that employee. And it only ends badly. And it's like, so I've learned really to pause, even take a night, and come back to them, again, after prayer, after thinking through it, talking with Troy about it, and then coming to them in a more calm state. It helps me, I think, we get to a more helpful resolution as opposed to just anger meeting anger, and then it becoming something it shouldn't, a bigger deal than it needs to be.
So you pause before you give the response, and even if that means 24 hours. So the pause does, well, it does, but the pause, I like the way you phrase it, because most of the time when we think of a pause, we think of a few seconds. We think short, but you've just given permission to have a pause for 24 hours. And I love that.
Well, and sometimes too, I'm fortunate in that I have Alyssa, my office manager, who's my filter. Like, so she will hear a lot of the initial problems or communicate to her, because HR is one of her biggest job descriptions. And so they'll come to her with it first, and then she's relaying it to me. So I have the luxury of being able to say, let them know, we'll get back to them tomorrow, or whatever it is, if I need more time to calm down. So that's now when the time comes that it's right blatant in front of me, like a patient. If a patient blows up, and is very emotional, again, I've just learned, like, meeting emotion with emotion is never a good resolution. Just pausing and, again, being empathetic, being the devil's advocate.
Right. Are most of the challenges or conflicts or issues, even if it's from staff or patients or whoever, is it mostly a communication issue, or what would you say the root of most of these conflicts are, if you had to point to something, if you can?
I mean, most of the time I'd say it's communication. It was either the patient misunderstand. Okay, if it was a patient, like, about a bill or something. There was a misunderstanding about what insurance was going to cover. That's the biggest thing that comes across. And then they're out of pocket. And so I'm compassionate to that. So it's like, if it lands on my desk, it's worked its way through the chain. And I'm like, all right, now I got it. So that's communication is a huge thing, which is why I drive home to my front desk. I'm like, listen, you need to reiterate how much this is not a guaranteed. And they do. So that's the only thing that grinds my gears, is when a patient's like, they didn't tell me. I'm like, okay.
I
know they did. They did. But I hear that you didn't hear that, and I understand why that's frustrating.
Yes.
So, and even treatment though, like I've learned over the years in communication that if you tell someone, okay, for instance, like if we're doing dental work and there's a chance that it's going to be close to the nerve root canal, all the traumatic things that dentistry comes with it. I've learned if I start with, here's all the worst case scenario.
Okay.
We're going to be close. Here's what I am battling. And laying it out for them, showing them pictures and communicating like, hey, this is the tooth I'm working with. If, God forbid, that tooth ends up needing a root canal, they're like, you're right. And it's because I communicated. Now, if I don't say anything and just say, hey, you're coming in to do a crown today, zip, zip, and then the tooth ends up needing a root canal, that's where you open the door to like, doctor made me have this root canal because she hurt my tooth or whatever. Like there's room for that because there wasn't the understanding or communication of here's the risks involved with what we're doing. So
hold on. So because this sounds really methodical at this point. So as a speaker, I do this thing to where I give the audience one big idea.
Yeah.
So in typical speech, you generally have your intro, you have your 3 main points, and then you have your outro.
Right.
I give them one main idea.
Okay.
And so what you just described to me sounds like a method. You give them the worst case scenario up front, though.
Yeah.
And then you can walk through all of these other things first.
Right.
That sounds very wise from a communication standpoint.
Because it's backfired on me. And that's I mean, in the sense that when I didn't do that, and it was heartbreaking because I'm like, okay, I did not effectively tell them what I was dealing with, like here, and preparing them. And sometimes it can scare people when I talk about that. So there's that side of it, that oversharing, which is essentially what I'm doing, can be very intimidating. But that's where, again, stepping in and holding their hand through it and being compassionate and saying, like, look, I'll update you as I'm going, and all that. I think that really helps people feel at ease when they're in the chair. Yeah,
I love that. That's very good information. Well, Amanda, I love you dearly.
I love you guys.
We have another question from off camera. So good.
We need coffee.
Right.
You're lady boss, okay?
Yes.
So, and your mama. How do you turn lady boss off?
Oh, that's a good question.
And then when you're home, you're back to mama.
Yeah.
My 30-minute drive home.
That's where you get to recoup.
But I'll be honest, on the days I feel fortunate that I see patients 3 days a week, and Troy knows I am thinner on those days. Because again, what I do is very emotionally draining. And I wouldn't change it for the world, but then to have the patients when I get home can be hard. So I'm not always spot on. So again, I think having a partner and a teammate is super important. So thankfully I have, 2 days a week that I can be full mom and have all the energy for them.
Yeah.
And so
good. Yeah.
So it's those 3 days it's thinner. And depending on how busy and what trials I had that day, of course, weighing in on that.
Yeah. Speaking of the question you just asked, you just gave me another question that I wanted to ask in terms of how does your leadership and what did you say, boss lady? So you got you got boss lady, you got leadership. How do you? I'm trying to ask this properly.
I know what he's trying to ask.
With Troy.
So like for us, I can't turn boss off a lot.
Yeah.
So then I come in and he has to remind me, you're not at work.
Yeah.
Do you struggle with that, where all of a sudden it's not the wife, you're the boss of him?
And telling him what to do.
In particular with Troy. Not with the kids. You can boss the kids around, right?
Right.
But in particular with Troy, that's what I'm trying to ask, yes.
I fail at it on the regular, but again, I attribute it to Troy's personality, and again, because of the trials that we've gone through.
Okay.
He's very good. And sometimes, again, that directness, I tell, if he's doing something that is, making me frustrated or mad, and I'll tell him, and he knows if I'm thin, this is not the time to combat that. We're just gonna, he'll take it for now.
Yeah.
And then later come back and sometimes he'll have a knee-jerk reaction, and I know okay, I've crossed the line. Just being with someone for almost 20 years, you know the reactions and how it landed, and I'm I'm sorry, and but I to this point for our children, they're always watching. And Adelaide is my mini-me.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I really have tried to be more cognizant of how I talk to Troy because I don't want her to pick that up because
Right. It's true.
because I fail at it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want her to carry that into her relationship.
That's right. Yeah.
We're always trying to make them better versions of us, right?
Yeah,
And it's
very
like,
good.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I fail at it all the time. But it's just reading and like, okay, I'll talk to him about it later type thing.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny you guys call me like boss lady. I don't think of myself that way at all. Like I'm just like because I think because of how I came into it and grew up in the office like the way I did, I'm just like this is the natural course of life. Like this
That's
is
true.
the way
Yeah.
things go.
Yeah.
So it's very like even you guys call me, I was like, me? You guys want to talk to me? So I appreciate
Of course. Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, you're a staple, of like how many of us, me included, want to be like. So
Yeah,
Well, you're
of
very
course.
sweet.
Yeah.
I'm very flattered by that. Like I said, I think God had a very specific plan on where I needed to be and laid things out when I didn't even realize it at the
True.
time. So
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely evident on your life. Like I said, we love you dearly here in this house.
so special.
And I think you're an amazing human, amazing person, wife, mom, boss lady.
I need it on a shirt just to remind myself.
Right, yeah. You're an amazing human. And so your parents have done a great job with you. The grace of God is evident on your life. And so thank you for being here, having this
Thank
conversation
you.
with me.
I had fun. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, awesome. Yeah.
Yay.